we're back at you with the next episode. We're reviewing the Super Bowl this time. It was an absolute amazing game. It was a banger from start to finish. Some of our things that we said were true, and some of them weren't. I really thought that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to come out firing on all 8 and put the game away quickly. It didn't happen quite like that. It happened in a different fashion. Kansas City's defense, in my opinion, played extremely well against one of the best running games in the league. And there's definitely some good things, especially going into the next year with having a guy like Patrick Mahomes and the defense they had. So it was definitely a hell of a game, start to finish. I mean, going into overtime in the preseason is amazing and a great game, let alone going into the overtime in the Super Bowl. Having said all of that, what do you think, Josh? How do you think the game went?
It went exactly how I said it would, minus the fact that I said the Chiefs would get ahead and stay ahead. But it went under, praise God. And the Chiefs won, praise God. That means the Niners' rings will stay in the 90s with their hopes and dreams. And Shanahan will continue to be the choke artist in the big games that he is. He's certainly made himself reputable to be. 0-3 with double-digit leads in 3 separate Super Bowls. It's funny to see all the people that just watched that game this year, that was the only game that they watched this year, just like, they were at a party, it was on. And they are convinced that the NFL is rigged, and it's rigged in Pat Mahomes' favor, because that's certainly not what the fuck I saw on Sunday night. I saw the better team making it happen when it mattered most. I saw some very poor decisions on both teams' parts. But I saw what a lot of people consider to be a boring Super Bowl, and I did not see it that way whatsoever. I thought it was extremely suspenseful. I truly didn't ever believe that the Chiefs were going to lose that game, but boy, did they dig themselves into a couple of holes.
Avery?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but I said I thought we were in for one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. I did think it was going to be a slugfest for all 4 quarters, and we even got some free football. We were 1 second away from going into a double overtime. If the Chiefs don't score, they got to kick a field goal. So, I had conversations with a lot of people after. Everybody was like, well, what would have happened if we went into a second overtime? Well, we would have 49ers would have got the ball again, and I guess we keep it rolling. Each team gets a possession. It would have been cool to see some extra, what's really going to happen in these type of scenarios. But I think it was a tale of 2 halves. I think the 49ers played perfect football in the first half. They had some unfortunate injuries that kind of deflated them in a couple of different position groups. Greenlaw being out, tearing his Achilles. Feliciano hurting his shoulder, triceps area, whatever that was. That messed up the interior. The Chiefs had players step up when they needed to in the second half. They have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever controlling an offense that is coordinated by one of the greatest play callers ever. You can't take anything away from them. Both teams showed up. They showed out. Players on each side showed up and showed out. It was a great game. Just 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, he lived up to the billing. We have to put that on him now. He will not win the big one, and that is just what it is. Like Josh said, he's 0-3 with double-digit leads in Super Bowls. Choke artist or choke artist. You got to call it how it is.
Ronnie?
Yeah, so, first off, that's tough, man. 3 Super Bowls, and you got Brady and Mahomes twice. So, I wouldn't wish that on any man. I brought up too, I think it was a couple weeks ago or maybe it was last week, about how it was 2 weeks ago, about how Shanahan was, I think, 0-30, and he ended up being 1-30 because they beat the Packers. I think it was,
wasn't it?
Where they entered the fourth quarter. No, they entered the fourth quarter of that game tied, I remember. But the week before that, that was the first time they had ever won. If they had been trailing going into the fourth quarter, they were 0-30. That brings me to another point, which is one team that has to play perfect ball versus a team that has slack to give. When you have Mahomes, like, that's truly the difference. And we say it in a bunch of different ways and game manager and this and that. But basically, what we're saying is one guy has to play more perfect football. Everybody can't have false starts. You just can't have that. You can't have interceptions. Your defense has to come back. Whereas Mahomes, it literally doesn't matter, bro. You could have swapped his defense out for a shitty defense, and the game would have been 52-56. If that's what he needed to do, that's what he was going to do. When he needs to be this, he's this. When he needs to be that, he's that. So it's just like when I see the game being 10-0, it might as well be the Chiefs might as well still be up 10-0. When they're down 10-0, they might as well be up 10-0. Like, you have to be up probably 4 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, like, to say it's over against Mahomes. So I really think that's the difference. And it's, I don't even know if, like, the crazy thing is like, even when we saw the quarterback as dynamic as Josh Allen do everything he can and left 13 seconds on the clock, it wasn't enough. So it's tough, man. I really don't know. Like, you see a 49ers team that's probably a championship team in many different eras, but man, that's
Ronnie,
tough.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with Mahomes last week. You mentioned that Mahomes was, when he needs to manage the game and he needs to get his team off the field because the defense is playing great, he goes in and does that. He doesn't go in and make a mistake, right? When Mahomes needs to go in and make the play, well, we saw that when he was down in the Super Bowl. No, rushing, passing, the whole 9 yards. It was a complete performance from a quarterback. And to my point about Lamar Jackson last week, Patrick Mahomes can stand on guaranteed money because he provides guaranteed wins.
Guaranteed plays. He makes a guaranteed play. If you need a play, he's going to make it.
Correct.
Like, he's not going to overthink it. It's
so like you could go back on the film too, just from the performance, like you were just saying. There was a play, like, I think in the fourth quarter, where Mahomes stepped up, bro, and he wanted to launch it, and he put it down, bro, and checked it off. And the announcer, Tony, was like, because Mahomes had no interceptions through all the playoff performances, and he threw one early in the game or whatever, right? And Tony said he wanted to throw that, but he put it down. Like, he really is, man. Like, you see it there. Like, it's tough to be able to, like, Josh Allen doesn't have that. Josh Allen's letting that go.
Oh, 100% and 100%. But I also feel like, when Patrick Mahomes comes in and he does end up making that mistake, he's good enough to overcome, right? I think right. I think we talked, and I don't remember the quarterback we talked about it. Maybe it was Josh Allen or somebody else, but somebody had mentioned, and I believe it was Ronnie too, like, the ability to raise the level of the people around you, right? Patrick Mahomes has that. Tom Brady has that.
I think that comes with knowing the system, knowing who you have as, like, the players that are around you.
Knowing their
strengths and their weaknesses. Yeah, strengths and weaknesses.
Hard work needs talent, boys.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. And again, not to dwell on this too much, but Josh makes a really good point about a lot of casual football fans that said a lot of bad things about the Super Bowl, how it was a bad game, or it was,
that was a war. That was a war of attrition.
That was an absolute banger. I mean, that's great coaching. But I think a lot of that has to do, those casual football fans, they know some names. They know Christian McCaffrey. They know Patrick Mahomes.
They know Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce's girlfriend. That's really what it is.
And that's it. So when they're giving their 2 cents about this game, and they're talking about how, that wasn't a good game or something like that, it just goes to show, like, how little people are watching football and what they know. They just know that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Christian McCaffrey aren't scoring 7 billion times that game. So it's boring and dumb and not a good game. Literally the most competitive game of the year.
I saw a tweet earlier that said, because the final score wasn't 52-49, you say that it was a bad game. You don't love football. You love offense.
No,
Bro, it
Like,
honestly it reminded me of the same way as when you would see two straight dogs in tennis go against each other and a match would go for like 2 days. Like, wow, how funny is it that the two best teams met up in a game and that was it took the longest amount
4
of time
hours.
to decide the winner of that game.
Took
Wow,
4.5 hours.
right, that means that they picked the two best teams probably. Like it took us almost into double overtime to get the winner of the game.
Even if it was scripted, the NFL did a goddamn job, huh?
Hey, yeah, round of applause.
Yeah.
Round of applause for the NFL script
Even
writers,
if it was
guys.
scripted, they couldn't have come up with a better script, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the NFL scripted it for 80% of Vegas bettors to get paid. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I was just saying, if it was scripted, bro, the Cleveland Browns
Would have
and
played
Joe Flacco
Would have played the Lions.
Would have played
the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys would somehow be in the Super Bowl if the script writers, if it was rigged.
And have y'all
Because
looked
it's
at
America's team,
have y'all looked at who's favored to win next year's right now?
the 49ers. If I'm not mistaken, the 49ers open.
It is the Niners.
Yeah, they
Am I the
opened.
only one blown away by that?
Yeah, I thought the Niners are about
What
to fall
evidence
off.
do we have to bet on anybody but the Chiefs as of today? They're a dynasty. They are, as of now, a dynasty.
3 and 5 years. 3 and 5 years makes you dynasty status. Going to try to be the only team outside of the Patriots.
There's 3 folks that have did it.
Hey, shout out to you,
Tom and
guys.
Bill, Mahomes
Shout out
and
to you,
Andy
Steelers
Reid,
guys.
and fucking Terry and Chuck Noll, bitch. Okay,
But
not.
I think you have to look at the Chiefs as being the team that's going to be the first three-peat. Like, what are they really gonna go and attack in the draft and in free agency? They're gonna go get them some more weapons. They're gonna go get. Their linebackers were great. Tranquil and Bolton played great.
Receivers, linebackers. I mean,
yeah.
I think we're looking at
offensive line.
I think we're looking at a Patriots blueprint 2.0 here, where Kansas City will be able to hit the draft, and we'll cover this more when we get closer, but Kansas City will be able to hit the draft in the years coming when they have Patrick Mahomes, and they'll be able to pull in some of these very marginal receivers, marginal skill players on offense most specifically, and they'll be able to continue to be successful. It might not be Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, but they'll still be in the top of their division and dominating and making the playoffs year in and year out because Patrick Mahomes has that ability to raise the level of the folks around him.
Yeah. I also want to say something too. You can say that the Chiefs' run game was kind of non-existent against the 49ers. They were missing their best interior lineman. Joe Tooney was out.
Right.
So
Pat's ass ran.
Yeah, power scooting, but you've seen a lot of that. I think you've seen a lot of that through football. Because of the way football works, if the quarterback is running the ball, you end up with extra surfaces and extra blockers, and you have to cover down on extra gaps. So it makes it a lot harder, especially when you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes and his athleticism. When he drops back and you're in a zone or you're in man coverage, rarely is he getting spied.
Bro, how does Bosa bite on that back? Like, it's 4th and 1, and you really think he's handing it off? You really think he's handing it off? They're going to give it to him. And, bro, what a play call. To motion Kelsey in to make him look like he's about to push in and then force the defense into a bind by pulling him out. Play action, that's 3 different things you got to look for. So play action, boom. Now Mahomes can run it or he can throw it out there. If he wanted to throw that ball, he could have thrown that ball. They were both open. He was just like, okay.
Triple option.
Yes, that's awesome football, bro.
Exactly, but just a different way to do it.
Yeah. Correct.
And they started really messing with the 49ers' eyes in that last drive, bro. They were dicing them up. I thought Kelsey was going to score on that little.
Yeah, Dre Greenlaw being out hurt.
Burks gave
Did you guys see him Hulk smash someone?
Bro, what?
He made a tackle. He made a tackle, and then he immediately went like that afterwards and hit the guy. Bro, he was so amped up that minutes later he went to run on the field and ruptured his Achilles. Like, this dude was on one, bro. He was about to have a performance of a lifetime.
That's maybe the best pass coverage linebacker in the NFL too.
He's so good.
Dre Greenlaw was probably on his way to winning the Super Bowl MVP because he had made 4 tackles on the first 2 drives, and
You
know,
Yeah,
he was
Jawan Jennings.
Jawan Jennings was going to make a very good case that the 49ers
Bro,
won also.
yeah,
How
I'll say that.
crazy is that, though, to show you like that the Super Bowl is so intense. You have never seen somebody rupture their Achilles that way, being amped up, running out on the punt coverage. Like
Right.
what?
Nah,
Right.
it was after the punt. He was going out there to
Well,
I'm
get ready.
right,
Yeah,
but like he was
But-
that amped.
Listen, I think this is a good time to segue into one of my bigger points here. And one of my bigger points here is, in my opinion, we talk about these casual football fans that are, looking for the Patrick Mahomes and the Travis Kelce explosion. But in my opinion, and I didn't look at the stat line, so I don't know it off the top of my head, but Chris Jones, in my opinion, really made a great case to be an MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean,
bro.
it's a very selfless position, and I'm not trying to hone in on it because that's where I played and that's where I coach currently. But dude, the penetration he had through the A gaps and the B gaps and very key timing is just unreal. I mean, and it wasn't just that game, bro. It was the game before. I mean, you go look at what derailed Josh Allen on that last drive. Who's making the play?
Chris Jones right in his face.
And who was sitting out demanding money? Okay,
Chris Jones.
Right.
He
Same
deserves
person.
it.
And Zach Martin from the Dallas Cowboys tried the same maneuver, and he played like shit this year. So again, this brings me back to my point about guys and contracts and delivering and not delivering. That dude delivers. He deserves everything he got. And again, in my opinion, you go look at some of the plays and the timing that he made those plays to get the Niners off the field so that Patrick Mahomes could take over and start structuring that comeback. I mean, is that possible without Chris Jones? Right.
Nah, the 3rd and 3 in overtime before they kick the field goal. Ayuk's wide open. Jennings is wide open. There's 2 wide open guys. Nobody can block Chris Jones.
Whack. You know what I mean? Like
Brock Purdy's got 0.5 seconds to throw the ball.
Yes, and again, I think that it's not just these casual football fans that are seeing the game like this. It's more than that. It's the people that are actually voting on things like the awards in the Super Bowl. We can get to the NFL honors and Defensive Player of the Year if you'd like, but we don't have to dwell too much on that just because we got a couple Steelers fans around. So, I mean, what do you think, Josh? Like, do you think Chris Jones has a chance or what?
A chance for what?
MVP.
No. Just solely because not because he didn't play phenomenally and he wasn't a massive playmaker in that game. It's because if Pat Mahomes is in that game, okay, Pat Mahomes probably going to get the MVP, dude. Deservedly so. Deservedly so. It's gotten to the point now where if the Chiefs, like, I remember when they played the Dolphins overseas. I can't remember if it was London or Germany, but they played the Dolphins overseas. Yeah, they played the Dolphins overseas. It wasn't a great game. They ended up sneaking out a win, and they're doing a post-game interview afterwards with Mahomes, and he's talking about like he wasn't happy with his performance. He was his own like worst critic, and they just won. And he said verbatim, our offense is, it's not the greatest right now, but we'll get there. And I never forgot him saying that because I remember acknowledging immediately. I was like, he always gets there. Like, he always gets there. It's gotten to the point now where if the Chiefs make it to the playoffs, I don't give a fuck if they even win the division. If the Chiefs make it to the playoffs, they have my money 100%.
You cannot be in a 1-score game, bro. Like, you can't be in a 2-score game. But if you're in a 1-score game with like 3 minutes left,
fucking playoff game, underdog in the fucking Super Bowl. Stop. What world are you living in where you're betting against this team at this point? It doesn't matter what, weeks 4 through 8 look like. They're the Houston Astros. The Chiefs
they went down.
It fucking matters. And they showed up again and again and again and again. And everybody puts their hats on, puts their capes on. Chris Jones does it. Travis Kelce, Travis Kelce, okay, did a big no-no, in my opinion,
Huge
when
no-no.
he shoved his head coach and screamed in his face. And I don't think he was saying, Andy, you look really nice tonight.
Yeah.
He shoved him.
Hey,
Andy, you're making great choices.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you,
That's a
bro.
big no, but he gets a pass because, he made the NFL $350 million by dating, a pop star
Hey,
this
I
year.
ain't gonna give him a pass for that. I'm just gonna give him a pass because he's one of the best playmakers at his position all the time, and I know what the fuck he was trying to be. Like, give me the ball, bro.
I know.
Like,
No, I don't think he
Yeah.
was saying that either. I think if you watch the play that happened, they take him out and
to
watch.
block. Yeah, like
Exactly.
two backup guys are blocking.
When they
like
took him
block.
off, when they took him off the field, they knew that they weren't throwing the ball. As
no,
soon
and
as
that's something I've said.
That's why
Yeah.
Gronkowski's better than Kelsey.
No.
I don't think they took him out because he isn't a good blocker.
No.
I think they were saving snaps, bro. To be honest, it's a snap count thing. I mean, either way, do you want Travis Kelce in there on that third down in the first quarter, or do you want him in there on that third down in the fourth quarter? You know what I mean? So, like, I can see as a coach where Andy Reid's coming from, but also as a player, I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm not saying it's acceptable.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But with a football mind and anybody that's played the game, you could understand potentially where both sides are at, right? So
Yeah.
See, but that was the same thing I was saying about George Pickens to you.
I'm not saying,
and I'm not saying George Pickens is Travis Kelce, but if he's the dog that he is, then he should think he's Travis Kelce. He should think he's Travis Kelce.
Correct.
George Pickens goes up and shoves Mike Tomlin.
That doesn't happen because Mike Tomlin
ain't 60 years old.
Mike Tomlin is shoving him back on national television.
Omar Epps' doppelganger might catch him one, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you.
Yeah, he lost a tremendous amount of my respect when he did that. Regardless of his reasoning behind it, be it, frustration, because at the time of the shove, he had one reception for 1 yard.
Yes.
So a lot of people can immediately click on like, oh, he's getting pissed off about not being involved. Like, he's going to be the one to make this game. But then, like, second half rolls around, who gets 90 catches for 87 yards? Like,
he also had one target when that had happened too, and we were almost in the second quarter. This is the same guy that had 9 for 96 with a tud in one half against Baltimore the week before. Hey, give me the ball. We know what happens when I get the ball. Like, it spreads it out. It opens shit up. I know that's what he's going
Andy,
for.
though, is
shove the man that drafted you, and he's half the reason you're playing in that fucking game. Ever.
No, he's 100%. 100%.
Andy slow played it, bro. He wanted he waited till the third, fourth quarter to really open it up, bro. And then they showed. Andy knew that it was probably going to come down to one drive, and on that last drive, they fucked with him the whole fucking time, bro, with Kelce. Moving him. Basically, the big difference, in my opinion, from the first half to the second half was motions. They were taking Kelce all over and mismatching him, putting him in positions on the field where it was just going to be a mismatch. And they knew that the Niners would likely say, okay, we'll put Fred Warner on Kelce one-on-one, and the Chiefs said, our guy will win, and their guy won.
I mean this respectfully. If I am Kyle Shanahan, I'm firing Steve Wilkes before we get on the plane. Because I want to know, why are you sitting in cover 2 the entire second half with 3 tight ends on the field and just letting the 3 tight ends eat? Do you know Gray and Ben Watson had career games in the Super Bowl? Like, I'm pretty sure they might have had career highs in catches, both of them. 5 each. They don't get the ball. Like, no, sure. and that's just a mismatch. Now, I will also say, because I want to hit on this point too. We were talking about players that showed up. Nick Bosa, outside of the first half, failed miserably when it came to making plays. Nick Bosa could have had 3 sacks in the Super Bowl, and he missed Patrick Mahomes 3 different times in one-on-one tackle opportunities just by stopping his feet. Like, it was just, I just didn't understand it.
Money.
Also, Trent Williams. Trent Williams is my favorite football player in the NFL. Trent Williams had back-to-back penalties in the first half.
Right away.
Trent Williams had 4 plays where he could have leveled Trent McDuffie on outside run plays to spring Christian McCaffrey for 10 to 20 yards and missed all 4. And he just did not pass protect that well, in my opinion. This is also somebody that we could have easily hammered as the best left tackle ever because Walter Jones doesn't have a ring. Orlando Pace doesn't have a ring. Anthony Munoz doesn't have a ring. Those are the 3 guys that we would put in the conversation as best left tackle ever. He could have solidified it by saying, I have a ring and those 3 guys don't. That's just my opinion on that. But Bosa and Trent Williams, 2 guys in the trenches that needed to show up, and they didn't.
No, 100%. Talking about Trent Williams, there's definitely a star on the other side of the field that we aren't talking a lot about, but I think he had a very good game. It was Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he had a bad game whatsoever. I don't think he was making mistakes, but again, he had a very average Christian McCaffrey game, and that's a lot better than some games that anybody could put together, right? But
70 and 70, like
80 and 80.
Oh, 80.
Yeah,
right.
80 and 80. Like that's 150 total yards, bro.
But my point here is Christian McCaffrey could have played the best game possible, but it's a quarterback league at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So unless Christian McCaffrey is able to drop back and make a decision on whether he's going to throw the ball or run the ball, you can't pay the guy that just runs the ball too much money, right? I think we see a lot of that in running backs in the NFL where these running backs are pretty damn good, but they get mediocre contracts and everybody's like, oh, this, that, and the third. But when you look at it, Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's the best running back in the NFL this year, right? I mean,
I think you're targeting the wrong person on that offense
this year.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're targeting the wrong player.
No, I'm not targeting him. I'm not targeting him at
all. Deebo Samuel.
Listen.
Jay, that's the one you need to talk about. The guy that wanted wide receiver 1 money that literally did the same thing Christian McCaffrey did and hasn't put up wide receiver 1 numbers.
33 yards.
Like, what? Brandon Ayuk was the all-pro wide receiver on that team.
Debo definitely, bro. Debo takes a lot of punishment for that team, bro. He really.
I'm not.
He gets a lot of yards that aren't.
He got 5 touches the other day, bro.
So who's on that? Him or the coaches?
What I'm saying,
considering he had 2 drops and couldn't get separation from Trent McDuffie. Like Trent McDuffie had that kid in a straitjacket.
Trent McDuffie's one of the better corners in the league right now.
I'm not saying he's not. But this is also what Riley's saying. We're talking about guys who.
I'm saying,
but everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. He's not a route runner or a separator. That's not what he does.
Christian McCaffrey. Listen, I'm not saying he needs to do anything or he did anything wrong, or he had a Christian McCaffrey game. I mean, does it get any better? 80 and 80.
He fumbled in the first half, though. That's 3 points. They win the game in the red zone. Huge fumble. No, absolute no. Can't do it. Game changer right there, then and there. Bang.
For sure. But what I'm getting at though is even with 80 and 80 from the running back, who is one of the, if not the best player in the NFL, that's still not enough. You know what I mean? Like you go into a Super Bowl, even if you fumble the ball and you go 80 and 80, did he score?
He got a touchdown.
He had a receiving touchdown from Jawan Jennings.
Because he was man downfield.
So regardless,
he had
80 and 80 with a tud and a fumble. I mean, let's look at running back stats. That's not terrible in any stretch.
Well, right? He went off.
So, and my only point,
huge is all I'm saying.
Yeah, right. My only point to this whole topic is that you could be the best running back in the NFL, and that's still not really
enough.
Yeah, ain't enough. Win a Super Bowl. It's not. So when you're,
it's not the 90s.
You go into overtime, and the Niners, for some goddamn reason, don't defer the fucking ball.
Hey,
and
then
you're saying, we have Christian McCaffrey, We should be good here. This should end in 6. And the other team who's going to get the ball last has Patrick Mahomes.
Bro, that's how much the world can change though with just one fucking point difference. That you know how crazy it is? We're sitting here today if the 49ers win talking about we can re-sign Kenny Pickett and win with a run game. Look it. It's happening. It happened. It happened.
100%.
No, but now we're saying nope, can't happen, won't ever happen. Bro, it was literally this close to happening.
We're
It
Jake
didn't happen.
Moody being a step quicker on his field goal extra
That
point.
motherfucking kick, bro, that kick was not like that was too low. It was less
Yeah.
about the block as it was about the kick. He kicked it too low. He kicked it right he shanked it like into the dude's
He put it like 4 inches off the center's fucking helmet.
Yeah.
Also, we were talking about MVP guys earlier. Hey, bro, Harrison Butker. Somebody needs to give the kicker
he's
his
done.
flowers, bro. Harrison Butker
Jake
missed
Elliott,
3 field goals all
Tucker,
year.
and Butker are in a group of their own.
He missed 3 field goals all year, and he was perfect from 50. Oh, he missed 2. Missed 2, not 3. Missed 2 all year.
Shout out.
Yeah, he went 44 out of 46 on the year and set the record at the Super Bowl. After the record being set.
Shout out to Big John in the background here, following us up on the
Appreciate that, John.
stat lines. Well, we can't look them up immediately again. All production value and everything that you can see here is courtesy of John Bolin. MVP, Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. I think we were unanimous that if Kansas City won the Super Bowl, it was going to be Mahomes as the MVP. Having said that, it kind of rolls me back to the point where we were talking about how the NFL isn't scripted, but it's not. I think we're just 4 knowledgeable dudes. We watch football, we see what it's worth, and therefore we can make some pretty educated opinions on it. So, I'd like to give us a little bit of credit in that regard. I don't think we're the only group of 4 individuals that saw the Super Bowl matchup and thought to ourselves, well, if the Kansas City Chiefs win, Patrick Mahomes will probably be the MVP. I don't think we're, beating the world down by any stretch.
That's not a hot take at all. That's
right.
Pretty.
Riddle me this. The Niners opened and closed as favorites to win that game, but Patrick Mahomes was the favorite to get Super Bowl MVP the entire time. Make it make sense.
The only reason I can make that make sense
because he's the most likely to win MVP in any setting ever, even if they're likely to lose.
For 350.
How can the Niners be favored and also the opposing? Because there's only one time in history.
Because I'll tell you why. He makes such a bigger impact than any one sole individual that was on that field. Period. Point blank.
That's right. The other reasoning too is that the Kansas City Chiefs statistically have one guy above all else who's more likely to win the MVP statistically, percentage-wise speaking, compared to the Niners, who have 10 different playmakers and defensive guys that all percentage-wise. So if you were to look at it like that, when you have 10 guys all at 100 odds, they're only all going to have a 10% chance, whereas one guy who's the GOAT, the MVP, he's going to have a wider chance to win the MVP.
Correct. And a guy that's already been there and a guy that's already won.
It could be
who else in that
25% Debo, 25% Kittle, 25% McCaffrey, 25% Purdy, 25. That's already 125%. We already passed 100. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's another guy I want to bring up too, George Kittle. That guy was just a glorified 6th offensive lineman the other day. Just throwing that out there.
Is that scheme though? Is that something that Kansas City schemed up? Because I don't think you could say that about George Kittle all year, right? Is that something that maybe they saw on tape? They took away the tight end, and because they took away the tight end, it was left up to Christian McCaffrey.
Jennings. Juwan Jennings is the exact prime example of a Super Bowl performance, bro. Literally, bro, every Super Bowl, there's always a guy that just shows up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I bet.
Shout out to the Seahawks, Malcolm Smith.
Right? It's all
made money. He got an extension after the Super Bowl.
The Giants receiver, not David Tyree, but the other one in the next,
Mario Manningham.
Mario Manningham caught the ball on the sidelines.
People don't talk about
Antonio Holmes. Even Antonio Holmes was nice, but he wasn't like come
Versus
alive.
Antoine Randall L. Antoine Randall
Anquan
L.
Bolden,
Randall
bro. Anquan Bolden's playoff performance with Joe Flacco that year
Bro,
was
Larry Fitzgerald's performance.
Larry Fitzgerald and
bro.
Anquan Bolden, both of them, bro. Yes.
Yeah.
Larry
Crazy
Fitzgerald
performance.
single-handedly beat the Packers in the NFC Championship
Hey,
Yeah,
bro.
that
that was
year.
crazy.
Larry Fitzgerald's 2010 playoff run is just crazy. Just
Yeah.
Dude,
those
but I'm
numbers
telling
are
you,
crazy.
Anquan Bolden's was too, and also in that same playoff performance, what's his name? Jones. Who's the punt
Jacoby
returner?
Jones.
Jacoby Jones, bro. Yeah, I hate the Ravens, but that was a wild. Flacco really took out, bro. I'm pretty sure Flacco took out Manning, Brady, and who else? Bro, it was crazy though. Joe Flacco went
Didn't
nuts.
they
Him and
beat
Anquan
the
Bolden.
Steelers that year in the playoffs?
It may have been. He might have went through Ben. Yeah, he may have.
Bro, there
I
was
think
some
I think he
time.
beat Ben that year.
Bro, well, I'll say this: there was some time Joe Flacco was powering through the AFC in the playoffs and not throwing any fucking interceptions in the playoffs.
Well, there's a big
bro.
thing. There's
like
a big
3
thing
years.
about Flacco. That's the
Bro.
whole question with Flacco is
Because Ray, if I'm not mistaken,
everyone knows
Ray Rice had the big game against the Patriots in the first game of the playoffs, and then they played the Steelers the next week, and that's when Flacco started just heaving that bitch deep. Flacco was just bombing, and
Right.
then they ended up, in the 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, and then that's when the lights got cut off, and then Ray Lewis and his robotic arm decided to grab Colin Kaepernick every time he tried to run the ball. That it won't go nowhere.
Hey, that's your favorite player.
Going back to Flacco, Flacco has 26 touchdowns and 12 interceptions in his 16 games in his playoff career. With a passer rating of
but go look at those. Go look at those interception numbers, John, and tell me if those weren't all like multiple interception games.
Well, nah, bro. 4 of them or 3 of them came literally.
Yeah, so he's got
the one last week.
2008 he threw 3, 2009 he threw 3, the rest is 1, 1, 0, 2, 2.
Yep.
2 was in Cleveland, 2 was in Baltimore back in 2014, and then he had 0, 1, 1, and then the 2 threes.
So is Joe Flacco a Hall of Famer?
100%.
Dude, that's not the question.
Bro,
I know everybody in here doesn't know you can't tell me nobody knows the question related to Joe Flacco. If you go to Google right now and go, is Joe Flack, it'll pop up. The first thing that'll pop up, is Joe Flack elite? Is Joe Flacco elite? He even knows the question, bro. They joked about it with him on PMT. They asked Donald Trump about it before, bro, it literally, is Joe Flacco elite? It was like the biggest running question for the longest time where nobody could figure out, was he elite? And then they thought when he won the Super Bowl, yes, this is the thing. He's elite. And then now you see how his careers went. And when you look back, you're like, I don't know. I don't think Joe Flacco was elite.
Is Matt Stafford a Hall of Famer?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
He's elite.
Is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer.
I think he's outplayed his time.
When you start asking first ballot stories, then
the reason Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer is because he outplayed what he should have been.
His first 9 years were insane.
Yeah. Promised in the last video, it would be Avery and Ronnie doing the 1-chip challenge due to some logistical issues and, trying to find them. There was a point in time where I feel like you could have walked into any goddamn store in America and they had them right next to the cashier. But that has since changed. So,
that kind of happens when people start dying from it.
Oh, now we're dying. Huh?
That's really what happened. I searched, why aren't these in stores? And they said,
hey, look, I ain't gonna hold you. Ronnie called me yesterday and was like, bro, this is kind of dangerous,
bro.
Doing research.
My boy, we're sitting there watching the Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, if it doesn't go over, I got to do the 1-chip challenge, I guess. He's like, bro, do you know how crazy that is? I'm like, for real? Yeah. I'm like, I know it's hot, it's gonna suck.
The over/under.
Yeah, the over/under.
Man, and I didn't even, bro.
Bad beat him off.
And if you go back on the video, that wasn't even something. I literally go, bro. If you watch, In the last video, I go, whatever. That was my response in agreement to this shit, dude. But it is what it is. I'm man of my word. But
I think there's an actual clip somewhere. I'm gonna find it for you guys, but I think there's a clip that says Ronnie wanted the over under to be like 46.5 or 44.5 or something.
I probably would have took something closer to 44, but it's like if I take 46, there's no suspense there.
He put it in our group chat. He said, "Wait, the live is 46.5 now."
No, that's what I had. Yeah, because I went to the under or I went to the over, and I'm like, well, I might as well bet it and just be all in on it. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And me and my boy, we bet on the Chiefs. Actually, that's what I was gonna say. Josh, you were talking about something earlier with the Chiefs related to it. And I was gonna say something, but as soon as the Chiefs went down 10-0, bro, we were literally sitting there and we're like, bro, I hope the Niners score a touchdown here so we could get it. And we got them at plus 325. The Chiefs down 10-0.
Yeah, I said plus 340. I said I hope y'all put some money on the Chiefs money line live right now. They're down.
Oh, that's
10
what you
points.
got it. I think we put it in like too quick. It was like, bro, I swear my boy must have had it ready because like they scored and he like hit that right in.
No, yeah, it's a lock. It's like because the lead's not going to get any bigger. Like
no,
and they're not losing this game.
Nope,
like
nope.
never. I swear on my son's life, there was never a second watching.
Did you guys see the moment where
the Chiefs weren't going to win? Dude.
They showed Mahomes on the sideline, and there was like somebody like kind of in between, but he was like this going.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he was trying to channel his inner Cam Newton.
Bro,
oh, man.
I'm like, yes, bro.
Yeah,
I just saw him like this.
Yeah, no,
like,
I didn't live bet. I did hang my hat on I was looking at the lines and I knew that 2.5 points was never going to cut it. I just knew that. I don't know why, but something told me that if it was going to be that close, that it would be a full 3, a field goal. So I just went plus 100 Chiefs money line. I cashed it. I only put like $80, cashed for 160. So
nice.
I made a little bit of money, but
it's free money. That's a free bet.
Listen.
I turned $2 to $13.70.
Just know, Shorty got a new necklace today. That's all I'm gonna say. All right.
Jesus. Ronnie's out here.
Valentine's. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that.
I just ran a three-leg player parlay. I did Travis Kelce over 7 receptions, which I was like this until the fourth quarter. I had Brock Purdy 0.5 yards because I got him on like a steal, and then Christian McCaffrey first half receiving a rushing touchdown, which he hit that, and I was.
You should have fucking had that.
Ooh.
That was a great play. That was a great play by Jawan Jennings. Did everything that game because even on that,
bro.
Great job of hooking the safeties like deep. He made it look like he was about to throw it deep, and then at the last second, he hung in there with a dude coming right at him and it was a little high for McCaffrey, but he sold it so well that it worked.
Bro, that's still
nobody better.
Two things. There was for sure 100% 2 guys more than 5 yards down for more than 1 yard downfield on that play. So that play should have came back immediately. And 2, how in the Super Bowl? This is the Super Bowl. It's worth billions of dollars. I think that Juszczyk caught the football, but how do we just keep playing? Nobody stops the game to check it. Like something has to be done with that. Like
I can answer that. I can answer that because they said in overtime, because that play happened in overtime, all reviews will be handled by the booth upstairs.
Yep.
Before they were sent down. So the booth reviewed that and said that it was a catch. So
they reviewed it quick, but
he dropped the fucking thing as soon as he hit the ground.
But that's the thing, bro. That's so quick that some guy was just like, "It's a catch, just run it." Whereas if they might have slowed it down,
Territor was the reviewing ref. So
hey, I'll say this.
Dude, I gotta talk to Gene. So,
that leads us pretty well into the overtime San Francisco 49ers debacle. Kyle Shanahan,
bonehead.
Absolute, bonehead. He's made some great choices. Bonehead.
I don't know if he scores a touchdown, he's not a bonehead. So yeah.
But he still is because the Kansas City Chiefs get a rip at it.
If
you go watch any level of football other than the NFL, in the last few years, and now in the NFL in the regular season, okay? You go watch college overtime rules. You win the toss, what do?
Defer. You
You
defer
always
every
take the ball
time.
second.
Well, yeah, because then you know
There's
what you
no
need as well.
advantage. There's no advantage of you getting the ball first. None.
Right.
It's you're starting over, bro. They can sit. They get
No, but the
15
biggest
minutes
thing
to
is
sit,
you
bro.
don't know
12
what you
minutes
don't
to
know what
sit.
you need. You don't know what you need. So the only way it's a win is if you go down and score a touchdown, or else it's literally a loss.
And
Because
how many times did they do that game? How many touchdowns did they score?
right, yeah, not many.
How many drives did you have? Okay, so that's your percentage.
One of them came on a crazy ass trick play.
Right. That's what you're betting your percentage on, that you're going to go down and score a touchdown, something that you haven't really been able to do all game. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a game that went to 6 overtimes this past year. And I'll tell you this, at the end of it, I had no idea, because every time you score, they get a chance. The end of the game was 35-35, okay? We scored touchdowns in that game, both teams, okay? So we kept scoring touchdowns in that game, both teams. By the end of it, because it goes your defense first, and then your offense twice in a row, and then your defense twice in a row, and offense. By the end of it, I'm going to be honest with you. The coaching point that I made to my guys was, we need a stop. I had no idea what fucking order we were in. We just need to fucking stop them. That's it. We have to stop them.
You get a stop, you win. You
Correct.
get a stop, you win.
Correct.
That's why the adage is offense wins games, defense wins championships for this type of moment.
Correct.
Because what are you going to need? You need a stop.
And Kyle Shanahan at some point was able to justify in his dumb, feeble, small fucking brain. He said, you know what? I want Pat Mahomes to have the last drive of this game because he's going to lose. Somehow that made sense through his mind. He said, we want the ball. We want Pat Mahomes to have the last drive in this game because he's going to blow it.
Yeah,
what world do you live in where it makes sense to give Pat Mahomes the last drive of a fucking Super Bowl?
I've come to the conclusion Kyle didn't watch any of Mike's games growing up and see John Elway do the type of shit that Patrick Mahomes just did.
Hey, I'm just saying, fuck, I forgot.
Sorry.
Came and left. 10 p.m. You'll have that.
CTE.
10 p.m. I mean, does anybody else need to make any points about the Super Bowl moving forward?
If the Chiefs make the playoffs, go ahead. They have my money.
Yeah.
Every single time.
I think there's 3 guarantees in life. Death, taxes, and the fact that if the Chiefs are in the playoffs, they will win the Super Bowl.
Oh, Popovich is getting 70 too, cuz. Don't forget that. Popovich is winning 70 games. Guaranteed.
60.
60, 70.
60. 70's a lot, bro. 70's a lot.
70's
breaking
like,
NBA records at
that's
70.
records. Yeah, I was going to say, you're breaking
NBA records at 70.
How about 50? 50?
Yeah, no, that's really what it was. 50. It was like
Pop's getting 50.
15.
Pop's
15
getting
years
50.
in a row with 50.
If Mahomes makes it to the playoffs, he's going to the Super Bowl. You're going to die.
He's in the Super Bowl.
And the U.S. is coming for your first 15%, unless you're rich.
Every time.
Okay? But no, just to wrap up the game from start to finish here, the Kansas City Chiefs played a complete game on all sides of the football, offense, defense, and special teams. And with a player like Patrick Mahomes, you're pretty much guaranteed to win the championship when you're able to go do something like that. There's not many teams that are able to win it without doing those things, but when you have those things go your way and you have that guy, it's a recipe for sheer success. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, so obviously they're going to win it. It's elementary at this point. I hate the Niners. I absolutely hate the Niners. I'm very grateful that their championships and hopes and dreams can stay in the 1990s. Brock Purdy is going to make $700,000 for one more year, and then everything will crumble around that team as a result of him needing the contract that he will get. They won't be able to continue to pay all these vets that are wildly talented. The building stops there. Their window is closing. They have, in my opinion, one more year before they're no longer even in the division race, let alone contenders. That said, the fact that the Niners are favored to win the Super Bowl next year is a joke. That is an actual joke. And yeah, I mean, it's elementary, dude. The Chiefs went to the Super Bowl and they won it. Who knew? Ronnie.
Hey. Yeah. Yeah, so I think all in all, I'm sad football's over. That kind of sucks, But aside from the Super Bowl and everything, I'm just excited for the off season. And I love that football, unlike any other sport, the draft is a thing, the free agency is a thing. We're gonna be locked in on all that. And as you see, being a Steeler fan here, we'll have some things in the off season to figure out. So I'm excited for that. And congrats to the Chiefs. Like Josh said, I think the 49ers window is closed, and I have a buddy that's a Niners fan. He was not happy. I'm not going to get into how unhappy he was, but he was pretty unhappy about that, man. It's tough, man. We've seen it, right, Boob? Josh, you've seen it. Avery. Yeah, you lost the championship, I think, last year at the Heat, but I don't know how diehard of a fan you are at them. But was that last year, right?
Twice. Watched them lose the bubble to the Lakers. Watched them lose the Mickey Mouse title. Yeah. And we watched them lose against the Nuggets.
Yeah, so. But yeah, man, so that sucks. But yeah, so it'll be fun on the 2025 season. Wow, that's pretty crazy. But yeah. Avery, go ahead, brother.
Well, guys, NFL's over. The season is, at least. I mean, it's not over. We're going to be locked in with the coaching carousel. We're going to keep everybody updated with free agency. And I can't wait to talk about the draft, honestly. It's a very good draft. I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. Everybody wants to talk about the two quarterbacks at the top. This is a way deeper draft than just two quarterbacks at the top of the board. We're going to get all into it. I'm going to break some news, though, because, everybody else on this panel has a team. It's very known that I don't have an NFL team that I'm actively cheering for because I just never really have, locked in on a team. Well, guys, in the words of, that guy that has that one song that has all them accusations, I'm coming home. I'm going to cheer for the Carolina Panthers next year, everybody. As bad as this is going to be, it's on the record. I'm a Panthers fan.
He was convicted of those crimes. Those were not allegations. He's incarcerated as we speak.
No. That was a Diddy thing. That was a Diddy song.
Oh, okay. All right, okay.
That was an R. Kelly song. That was a Diddy song.
I thought you were talking about Rob.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm ready to talk about the Panthers and what the Panthers are going to do to get out of obscurity, because that might be the worst ran franchise in all of professional sports right now.
Yeah, they fucking stink.
So, Bryce Oldwood back there.
Hey, Bryce is talented.
Yeah, good
Bryce
pick.
is talented, but there's no first round pick this year because they sold out to get Bryce. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do to build around him here in free agency. They swung and missed on some free agents last year.
Caleb Williams.
We're going to talk about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, we'll get there. But again, I appreciate you guys, following us along on this little journey we have here. It's definitely some hard work.
Did you give the breakdown on the one chip, brother?
There's some logistical issues. We'll get the one chip. We promise you we will deliver. It won't be this way. It'll be probably in our next recording. So, stay tuned for that. I promise we won't be the clickbaity empty promise, folks.
Yeah,
we're not putting it in titles. But be on the lookout for that. And again, I really appreciate the view. If you could, like the video and subscribe to our channel, that'd be great. And again, I appreciate you joining us again for some football talk. Just a couple of guys usually sitting in the crowd that decided to record some things. So have a good one.